Hello everyone! In this week's parasha, the Torah recounts the final years of Jacob's life. The opening verse of the parasha is, "And Jacob lived, Vayechi, in the land of Egypt, 17 years. The fact that the Torah states the precise number of years that he lived in Egypt prompted the Baal HaTurim, the 15th century commentator who, in addition to writing a fundamental commentary of the Torah, also tried to find a deeper meaning to the text by using of the method of gematria, numerology, to make the following observation. These 17 years, the gematria, the numerical equivalent of the word tov, good, that he was reunited with his son Joseph, were the best years of Jacob's life. So, the best years of Jacob's life were when he reunited with his son. It has been pointed out that Jacob's best years were also the 17 years that he spent with his son Joseph before he was sold by his brothers. The total number of years that Jacob lived with his son Joseph was 34. The opening word Vayechi, and he lived, incredibly, has the numerical value of 34. The implication of this hint is that true life, insofar as Jacob was concerned, was realized when he combined these two periods of goodness. The 17 years he spent with Joseph before he was sold into slavery, and the 17 years that he spent with him after becoming, prince in Egypt. One basic difference between these two periods is that in the first instance, Joseph was the recipient of Jacob's largesse, while in the last 17 years of Jacob's life, the tables were turned and Joseph was Jacob's provider. Since Jacob is regarded as the prototype of all of his descendants, it follows that we too can only experience true life when we can both impart our beliefs and values upon our offspring. When we have the time that we are teaching our children and teaching them all, what to do in life, and then the time when we can see what we teach them, how they are going to implement that in their life. So, as Joseph did for the first 17 years of his life, and also live to see how our children retain everything that they have learned after they have grown, even making significant contribution to the teachings of their parents. Many times children correct or make it better, yes? Indeed, as has been pointed out in earlier Torah texts, the very name Joseph means may he increase or may he grow. Another approach to the 270 years old period of good Jacob spent with Joseph can be appreciated by referring to a Talmudic discussion concerning the significance on the third day of creation, where God declares twice, and it was good. Though the Talmud states, symbolize one who possessed dual goodness for heaven and goodness for other creatures here on earth. There are those who feel a very close relationship with God, while others feel a sense of affinity and responsibility for others here on earth. Yes, needless to say, any good one does in either of these two directions stands on its own, but falls short of its goal if it is not combined with other. We have to do it together. We also have Hashem, we also have here, we have to be good for Hashem, but we also have to do good in life. It is not simply that two is better than one, but that each one of these areas of goodness contributes to and enhances the quality of the other. The first period of 17 years that Jacob spent imparting his spiritual legacy to Joseph parallels the concept of good to God. The second period of 17 years in which he was the beneficiary of Joseph's beneficence represents the twin idea of good to creature. Combined, the 34, numerical value of Vayechi, and he lived, gave Jacob the dimension of life that transcends goodness. Unlike the other patriarchs, the Torah does not employ the word Vayemut, and he died for Jacob. This, the Talmud observes, is to teach us that Jacob, in truth, never died. He lived through his sons. He left a legacy, yes? We all live through our children. We all leave a legacy here, yes? One way of understanding this statement is that true life, the combination of good to God and good to creature, that was experienced by Jacob, did not cease with his passing. It was bequeathed to his descendants, the Jewish people. So he passed this to his children and his children to their children until today. Jacob's ability to experience life in its fullest sense, the performance and experience of dual goodness, continues to this very day within the Jewish community. We've all had the experience after being told that something would get done, that for one reason or another, it never happens. So this is another subject that we learn in this parasha, other than the numerical value and the years that we can really learn from it. You have to have this time, to enjoy this time that we're teaching, and to enjoy the time that we can see what we teach. It doesn't matter if we are parents, if we are teachers, if we are, like in life, we all have this part, to a role to play. But another thing that we can learn from this parasha, it's also that sometimes we ask someone to do something, yes? And we know that Jacob, before he passed, he asked Joseph not to bury him in the land of Egypt. He precisely told him, take me out of here, take me to Eretz Israel, don't let them bury me here. Okay, he made him promise, yes? So sometimes the person that promised something may had all the best intention to do himself, but quite often he asks others to assist him, or he delegates it to someone else entirely, and then someone drops the ball and it never gets done at all, or gets done poorly. But when someone assures us that he will personally do something, taking full responsibility for the task, it almost always gets done right. This is what Joseph did. He told Jacob that he will do as he said, making a personal guarantee that his request will be done. This is because a piece of the person is now in the line. People who take explicit ownership for something will feel a sense of healthy pressure to make sure that it gets done, because their own self-esteem and self-respect are now all tied into the completion of this task. Many people don't take personal responsibility because it's so much easier just to pass the buck. But verbalizing to others that you're taking on the task yourself, then you will now gain a normal self-esteem. This is because you will now see yourself as someone who isn't afraid to commit, and as someone who keeps his word. It's also confirming to hear someone say he'll personally take care of something. It shows just how much the person cares and importance he places on our request. So the next time you'll ask if you can do something, don't just agree. Say, I will personally do as you have said, and watch the contentment and ease flash the requester's face. And since taking full, total, and complete responsibility will also dramatically increase our own self-esteem, you feel even better than the requester does. We'll all have the merit to always take responsibility and be able to do the things ourselves and not pass this on to others. We'll have a great Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.